This is Montana This Morning.
Good morning. It's 6 o'clock. Welcome to Montana This Morning. I'm Victoria Hill. Thank you so much for starting your day with us. And good morning to Miller.
Morning.
Thanks for being here. Thanks for coming back after taking a 3-day weekend for yourself. Good for you.
I miss you guys when I'm gone. I really do. You know, you're my second family.
Yeah. Did you watch yesterday?
I was asleep.
That's how much you misses us. I don't blame you.
Woo, man. Yeah, it took everything I had to get out of bed the last couple of days. But I miss you guys. Glad to be back. And I bring with me lots of moisture. We had the rain starting in last night. Still raining out there here in Billings. And it'll taper off as we go along this morning and move off to the east. So Miles City, Ekalaka, Glendive, get ready. If it hadn't made it there yet, it's on its way. 45 right now at the airport. Humidity 86%. The dew point's at 41, so very close to our temperature there where we have a chance to see some fog this morning. Winds out of the northwest at about 15 miles an hour. Let's go ahead and crunch some numbers. Yesterday, warmer than normal. High got up to 61. Overnight low, 43 degrees, warmer than normal. It was quite windy yesterday. We had a gust over 36 miles an hour. We're going to see even stronger winds tomorrow. We'll tell you about that with the main forecast coming up. And there's that slug of moisture right there in the middle of the viewing area, moving off to our east. And we still have a chance to see maybe a little bit of rain tomorrow. And then maybe by the time we get to Saturday, some models trying to push maybe some snow into Billings. We'll take a look at that with the main forecast coming up as well. We start off with the rain this morning, just some clouds this afternoon. Our high today of 54 here in the Magic City on this National Pumpkin Day.
Have you watched it's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown?
Oh, we did. We came on PBS the Sunday night.
Did you watch it?
Sure did. Every year it's a family tradition. We have not missed it yet. Have you?
That's awesome. We haven't watched it yet. I know it was on PBS, but we missed it. We have it on DVD, so we'll have to watch it. I'm going to take this holiday as a reminder to either go buy your pumpkin or go watch the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. That's what this holiday is for.
It's just a wonderful time of year. And then, of course, the Thanksgiving one. And then my all-time favorite, the Charlie Brown Christmas. I love it. Man, it's a great time of year.
Miller just gets up and dances like the kids in
I do, man. Me and Snoopy, we get down, man. I tell you what, we can do some dancing.
Oh, well, Miller, it's about time I get down with some news.
Okay, so I'll do some dancing over in the corner for you.
All right, thanks. Our top story this Tuesday morning, Hardin Public Schools will resume classes today. This as law enforcement continues to investigate a social media threat potentially targeting students and staff. Today, all campuses throughout the district will be closed after students arrive. Each building will only have one entrance and one exit. District leaders ask parents not to drop off kids too early and pick them up promptly each day. Law enforcement will be present at each school. Specifics about the threat were not released. Back here in Billings, if voters approve recreational marijuana businesses in city limits, the 1,000-foot rule will be enforced. That's the distance required between a shop and any churches, parks, or schools. The city council voted last night approving the rule. The zoning commission also recommended that recreational marijuana businesses be allowed in multiple parts of town, which would make them less likely to be clustered on the south side. All of this is dependent on whether Billings voters allow dispensaries inside city limits on the November 2nd ballots. Future recreational marijuana business owners are also waiting on some rules to come down from the state. MTN's Jonathan Ambarian explains.
The first day of adult use marijuana sales in Montana will be January 1st. Montana Department of Revenue leaders say they're confident they'll be ready for that important date, but there's a lot of work to do over the next 2 months.
The deadlines are aggressive, and really it's the rules that are our biggest challenge.
Last week, the department released their first extensive package of proposed rules for recreational marijuana businesses. Some of the most notable include laying out procedures and fees for getting a license to grow, sell, or transport marijuana products, establishing what warnings must be included on marijuana labels, and ensuring packaging doesn't appeal to children. Another set of rules covering things like inspections and enforcement could come out as soon as this week.
Our focus was really to be business friendly and to try to work with the industry in a fashion that makes the rules that it's adaptable to their current business structure and that they'll be able to evolve into without a whole lot of pain.
Barbie Turner manages Alternative Relief, which has locations in Libby, Polson, and Missoula. She says not having the rules in place has made it challenging to plan for January.
That's difficult. We haven't been able to prepare.
Turner says she expected the first day of legal sales to be delayed. She says the biggest questions she has have been about labeling and permitted serving sizes.
If we knew how to maneuver, we could start prepping and making a product and, just sit here and wait for the labels. But because we don't know what those products look like or what is acceptable, we can't even make a product until these rules come back.
Despite the challenges, she says she's still optimistic they can be ready.
It looks like an impossible feat, but because of our experience and because of what we've endured thus far, I know that we'll make it happen.
There will be a public hearing on the first set of rules on November 16th, and the department expects the second set to have a hearing around the end of the month. That means it's likely the rules will go into effect very close to the end of this year. In Helena, Jonathan Amberian, MTN News.
And a new study found the number of school-age kids who vape marijuana doubled between 2013 and last year. The study included about 200,000 students. Researchers found teens who are seniors in high school were most likely to vape marijuana. The study showed in 2018, 1 in 3 12th grade students reported vaping the product. Teens who reported using marijuana in the last 30 days rose 7-fold over the course of the study. In crime news, 2 people were killed and at least 4 others hurt during a shooting at an Idaho mall yesterday. Among the injured was a police officer who was one of the first responders on the scene at the Boise Town Square Mall. Investigators say the gunman was taken into custody after shooting at police. He was hospitalized and is in critical condition. More vaccine mandates, this time for visitors to the U.S. A new order by the Biden administration states starting on November 8th, most foreigners entering the country must be fully vaccinated and show proof before boarding an airplane. All travelers will also have to test negative for the virus before their flight. There are some exceptions, including children under the age of 18 and people from areas where there's a vaccine shortage. At-home COVID testing could soon be more affordable. $70 million from the American Rescue Plan will go toward helping test makers get through the regulatory process, which in turn will make the test less expensive. The FDA also just granted emergency use authorization to another over-the-counter test, which means 10 different tests are now available. Greenhouse gas levels are reaching new record highs. Scientists with the United Nations say greenhouse gas concentrations in the atmosphere peaked in 2020. There was a temporary decline in new emissions during the pandemic, but that wasn't enough to make an impact. The UN warns that if emissions continue to rise, we'll see more extreme weather, including intense heat and rain, melting ice, and rising sea levels. World leaders will meet in Scotland for the UN Climate Change Summit next week. Updated numbers from the FBI show an increase in hate crimes in the U.S. There were more than 8,000 reported last year. That's up 13% from 2019. Hate crimes against African Americans rose by nearly 46% in 2020. Attacks targeting Asian Americans soared by 73% as some wrongly blamed them for the pandemic. Now closer to home, 1 year after their tragic deaths, employees at Hansers Automotive are honoring 2 fallen co-workers. Casey Allen and Nick Visser were struck and killed by a passing car near Columbus while trying to recover a vehicle during a snowstorm. Yesterday, truck horns blared at all 6 Hansers locations. Visser and Allen's families were involved and called on all of us to move over and slow down.
Till this day, both boys are very missed. I miss them every day, especially Nick. I just hope this never happens again. I don't want to ever see it. So please pay attention and keep your eyes open on the roadway.
Just this year, the state legislature voted to increase fines and penalties on first and second offenses for drivers who don't move over when passing by an accident. We often hear about patient stories while they battle breast cancer, but not much from the minds who are in the middle of the cure. Yesterday, we heard from women in their 40s who are in a fight for their lives, and today we hear from these sometimes unsung heroes.
You can kind of see this little area that's distorted.
A close look under the watchful eyes of Dr. Kaylee Adler.
And that ended up being her cancer.
Is where a potential breast cancer diagnosis begins.
I usually have a pretty good idea of, is this something we need to worry about or is it not?
A call back for a closer look is common.
I'm really honest with the patients, and if it is something that we need to address with perhaps a biopsy, I tell them that this could be a cancer, it looks suspicious. If it's nothing to worry about, then the patient can go home and have that weight lifted off their chest.
Any woman diagnosed with breast cancer at St. Vincent Healthcare will know the name, voice, and embracing arms of Ella Dugan-Limley.
I remember your first call.
I know, baby. I know. I get to meet the patient right at biopsy, so they know me from the start all the way through.
Helping women navigate their battle with breast cancer is her life's work.
People ask me that all the time. They go, how do you do what you do? It's got to be depressing. And it's not, because I look at it in the direction is when I have a patient, we found the disease. That means I know that patient's going to get care and she's going to get help and be able to live.
Helping women live is also the mission of medical oncologist Dr. Patrick Cobb.
Once a woman is diagnosed with breast cancer and comes to see us, we develop a long-term relationship with these ladies, and that lasts for years.
30 years in this profession, time brings more hope.
Advances in surgery, radiation therapy, and especially chemotherapy, the prognosis for a woman who's diagnosed, even with pretty advanced breast cancer, is much, much better than it was a long time ago.
There's always hope.
Licensed clinical worker Kathy Bevier sees hope as women take on this unexpected turn.
So it seems like everyone else's life goes on, and then you, with a cancer diagnosis, your life kind of stops and it becomes your treatment plan, your visits. And so I think watching the hope that comes from their resilience of walking through those things is very empowering.
And we want your help empowering others this Friday morning. Since we can't have our annual Pink Week breakfast, we want to hear from you. Use the hashtag Q2 Pink Week on social media and share your message of love and encouragement for survivors, caregivers, and the ladies fighting the fight. Stick with us here on Montana This Morning.